Hey everyone, Chris Manning from Locked on Cavs here. Evan Dammarell is with me. We're going to go into Cavs Wizards. The Cavs lost 97-94, the first Cavs loss in a 3 points or closer game this season. So that is a little tricky for them, but they lost a game they could have won. We're getting into all of that and Isaac Okoro's return on this episode of the pod. Today's episode is also brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965. McDonald's has always been more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's an unofficial community center. A big thank you to our friends at McDonald's for always being there. I'm loving it.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Evan, Cavs Wizard was very fun.
I'd say so.
But Cavs' first loss of a game in those 3 points or closer this season. I think a game that when they look back at the film, they look back at how things kind of went haywire late for them. I think they feel like they probably should or at least could have won this game. I think there's a lot. I think what we're gonna do today is our normal awards in a second segment, but I think we really just need to start with the end of the game breakdowns because I think that if you want to spin it a positive way, you can say, okay, the last couple possessions were, let's just say, not great. Mistakes, gave up 2 threes, both to Kyle Kuzma, both assisted by Bradley Beal late in this game. Cavs lose after the second one from Kuzma. There's this instance where Lamar Stevens, who's in the game for Isaac Okoro after Okoro had gone up for Ben and fell back, and it just looked uncomfortable for him, comes out of the game. The Cavs say post-game that they were trying to foul Beal there. It is not called. If you look back at the replay, I think it was a good no call. I think Stevens got beat, and he did a weak job fouling. So, good job, Bradley Beal for shaking it loose there. But what did you just make of the end of this game, the late game execution, particularly on the defensive end for Cleveland?
I mean, yeah, the Cavs said they're trying to foul Bradley Beal, and if you look at it, it's pretty clear they were trying to foul Bradley Beal.
And they had a foul to give. Let's say that they did have a foul to give.
They had a foul to give, and JB's thought process is sound. Where he's saying, like, listen, we foul Brad Beal, we probably don't have the defensive breakdown on 3, but he also said this is a learning experience. This is a young and inexperienced team. They're gonna have these kind of flub ups and boners every now and then. Boner is a term for screw up, and things just sometimes don't go their way. It's the best way I would describe this game is it was fun up until the very end, and then you kind of felt the air just exit the building when Kyle Kuzma hit that 3. Who, shouts to Kyle Kuzma for making up a narrative probably in his head to talk shit to Cleveland fans, but he quite literally took a lead pipe that is known for poisoning Flint, Michigan, to the knees of the city of Cleveland tonight. But to your other point about Isaac, thankfully, I, as a non-media room member of the media, get to sit up in the press box for post game. And I was watching Colin shoot free throws and various standstill jumpers. For those listening, he was limping quite a bit, like favoring that knee and gingerly as he was walking up the court, talking to one of the trainers. Isaac was walking just fine. He was walking out with his brother, had a gift bag of goodies and stuff, and just like, what up, fist bump Colin, talked to him for a minute, then walked off the floor. I'm sure the Cavs will still handle kid gloves. I think he was encouraging in his first game back. Like JB Bickerstaff said, it was a hell of a test to put him on Bradley Beal. And it's a shame because you can really crystallize those last 2 defensive missteps for the Cavs and Washington's last 2 possessions. But you can't let that speak for the entire game. Like, this was a pretty good defensive performance for the Cavs overall. We'll talk about this more in the second segment, but like Lamar Stevens and Isaac Okoro played Brad Beal super well. Like, he didn't hit an actual bucket until 36 minutes into the game at that point, I think, or 36 minutes. Like, it was almost the fourth quarter when Bradley Beal finally scored. And the Cavs had a clear strategy. They executed it. They hung tough with a very hot Wizards team, and unfortunately, it just didn't go their way. I have a few takes on what could have gone differently, but we'll talk about that next.
Yeah, I think one of the things we saw is I think the second 3 was especially just troublesome because it's out of a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Steven, I think ultimately, like, and he had a good game, I think. Otherwise, it was actually one of the better games I think we've seen from him this year. But this is on Stevens to me more than anyone else because he just got beat by Beal. Beal got free. He came around a screen, and Stevens just had no ability to catch up. He just wasn't quick enough. Didn't get around the screen quick enough, and things got cooked there. I think he also, like, when he reacted and said, "Why didn't you call the foul?" Like, I think that was kind of not a great moment there either.
No,
And
it
then when
was
all
not.
that pressure was on the rim, Mobley and Allen collapse, and they're right on top of Beal, and they were both in help defense, and Mobley had helped way off of Kuzma. The only thing that happened is then Ricky Rubio has to recover from like way out of the way, and he had no real chance to like alter that shot or contest it in a meaningful way. That's just like a really good job by the Wizards, and just I frankly one of the worst defensive possessions we've seen this Cavs team's play all year in my mind. I've never seen them that discombobulated on a defensive end on a defensive possession this year, and it obviously just came at a very critical moment.
Yeah, it really did. And like I said, it's unfortunate that a lot of people are probably going to crystallize this entire game based on those two possessions. Whether it's the Kuzma three or the Corey Kispert layup to kind of just ice this game entirely. And then it's tough too because Darius talked about it on the following possession. He hit a three and he thought it was good, and it looked good to me when he shot it, but it was short. And it's just unfortunate. Like you said, there's a lot of pressure in the situations after you kind of blow that defensive possession where Kyle Kuzma was being heckled by Cavs fans the whole night, and just kind of iced the game for Washington. I don't know, man. I'm not like disappointed with the results, but I wouldn't say I'm frustrated because this Cavs team showed a lot of they played hard. They showed a lot of good effort. They showed tenacity. I hate these buzzwords, grit, like they're sports cliches, but they show a lot of positive things, and I think this is a good learning lesson. This is a good lesson for the Cavs, and it's a learning experience for them. And I'm interested to see how they bounce back against Detroit on Friday, which I haven't been paying attention. I don't know if they beat Houston or not. I don't know who won that game in the end because I was working tonight's game, so my attentions were on the Cavaliers and the Wizards. But I think
The
the
Pistons did
Pistons will
win.
be
They won by 8.
okay. So this could be a bit of a trap game for the Cavs, but a good bounce back opportunity as well to not maybe crumple as quickly. Like, I don't know if this was last year's Cavs or this is the John Beilein led Cavaliers. This is kind of the crushing loss. You're thinking like, okay, this Cavs team could crumple. I don't really see that happening this time around. Whereas saying like JB, I still think has the pulse of this team. I still think he knows and what to do and say the right things. And um, Kobe Altman has not given him all the answers to the test per se yet, but he is still figuring it out on the fly and making it work.
Oh, jeez. Just let's
I
talk
was
about
reading the article during the intro. Yeah, let's talk about
yeah.
Griff real quick.
Well, no, we're not talking about Griff. Jake, I'm sure our buddy Jake Madison at Locked On Pelicans is going to be frivolously recording a fresh, new, incredible podcast because he's really good at what he does. So go check that out for all your David Griffin content. This is not I don't want to dive into this. I want to ask you about the Darius Garland shot at the end of this game because my initial reaction was
which one?
the floater. We're going to talk about the floater, and that's going to be my play of the night. I'm spoiling that now because that incredible stuff from Darius. What did you make of the 3 that he took?
I don't
That
think
rimmed out.
like I said, I thought it was gonna go in, and it's unfortunately it went out. That's all it is, man. Like
Yeah,
it's just it's unfortunate. That's all I can say. Is just like, dang, that sucks. Because
yeah,
this Cavs team played really well up until like the last 20 seconds or so, and they kind of just let their youth and experience bite them in the butt, and they still had a chance. And it's just, you know what, you just kind of throw your hands up and say, you thought I was going to go in, but at the end of the day, you're not going to kill Darius over not making that shot.
yeah. I don't. I at first watch, I wondered if that was necessarily like the right shot, just because it was like kind of deep. You technically had a little more time to work, but obviously not much. I think the real bummer at the end of this game is just I think the ball when the ball Darius misses it rims out, it goes towards the baseline. There's like a second left. It's been given to the Wizards ball. I think that ball was off the Wizards last, but because the Cavs had no timeouts, they could not challenge it. So kind of a no way kind of around that. It's just one of those things that you can't like save a timeout for like a possible challenge into a game. I don't think that's like a fault of JB or anything. It's just like that. There's just like a couple little things that just kind of went wrong at the end there that I think kind of kept them from winning. And there's some other stuff too. Obviously, this team is missing 3 rotation players. I think you could feel we'll talk about the lack of Colin and what they're going to miss with him gone, I think, more Friday. But I think you felt his absence a little bit, at least especially earlier in this game. And they left some stuff on the board. I mean, Rubio missed a free throw in the fourth quarter. Like, I think this is just a game that, particularly because of what happened late, the Cavs will be kicking themselves a little bit. But Evan, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to give out our award. So MVP, play of the night, stat of the night for this one. But first, I got to tell you about our friends at BetOnline. And BetOnline is back and better than ever. They have a new web interface for the start of the basketball season that is more props, odds, and lines than ever before. It remains the number one spot for all of the basketball and football action this season. Head to the new BetOnline updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code Locked On to receive your bonus. From basketball to football to baseball postseason action, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to the favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports, and that's BetOnline. That's where the game starts. Again, use that promo code Locked On, all one word. All right. Chris Manning, Evan Dammarell back here. Evan, just to run through the box for this one, the Cavs again lose 97-94. Ricky Rubio led the Cavs to 20 points. Darius Garland had 19. Evan Mobley had another good game. Okoro played, I think, 28 minutes in his game back, had 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting. He spent most of the night defending Bradley Beal. Kyle Kuzma led Washington had 22, and Montrezl Harrell had 24 off the bench. Bradley Beal had 13 on 4 of 19 shooting. Did not make a field goal until 3:45 left in the third quarter. Excuse me. So again, kind of a weird game. Evan, your MVP for this game is whom?
Well, I think there's like 2, maybe 3 clear picks. I'm going to go with Ricky Rubio, though, because I'm a coward. He himself actually got MVP chance during the game tonight, and somebody asked him post-game, when's the last time you heard that? And he's like, right before I woke up. So, this was a fun game for Ricky. One of my biggest takeaways, if you watch the Locked On now, is the Cavs are really going to be like their offense went stagnant in the third quarter, and you start just wondering like, okay, the Cavs really need somebody to go out there and get a bucket. They don't have Colin out there, so what the hell are they going to do? Ricky kind of turned into that. He was taking some weird like step back, like fall away 3-pointers, and one of them went in. Then he went and tried a heat check and took another one, and that didn't go in. I'm fully on board with the Ricky Rubio experience. I'm still hesitant to say he's going to lift the curse of number 3, but my man has been sensational. He is clearly still the Olympic MVP. He's carrying those good vibes to the Cavs. A couple missteps along the way, but overall, Rubio was fun. I enjoyed the experience. He's my MVP. Who's your pick?
I'm going to go Darius Garland because I think the floater he hit was the shot of the game for the Cavs. And I think you could go Evan Mobley. I think you could go Isaac Okoro because of the defense he played on Beal.
Yeah, you're listing everyone I had in mind. I had Jared Allen too.
A lot of guys played well in this one. I don't think you can feel particularly bad about like anyone's performance. I think Jetty, I think had some all right moments in the game. He had 6 rebounds and was crashing the glass. Well, I mean, again, I know he messed up late, but this was like a good Lamar game, and he's not an MVP pick here. But I think I go with Garland, 8 of 16 from the field, 3 of 10 from 3, which I like the volume there. Only had 4 assists and did only have 4 turnovers. So not like his best game, but I felt like I like Evan those opportunities where we get to see him get to carry stuff late. I understand why it happens and why Rubio's the one handling the ball late and everything. I really just want to see like Darius Garland get the last 4 minutes of a game with the ball in his hands. Like I want that. And we got a minute of it. Right? We got like a minute of it and he hit that floater and then he almost hit that 3, which would have been a game winner. Played 36 minutes. Only Allen played more. Mobley got in some early foul trouble that kind of limited him to 26. But I think I go Garland, but I think it's more of a collective effort. And I think you can make a good case for Mobley. And Allen obviously had a good game too. But stat of the night is what?
US play of the night you cut out.
Oh, stat of the night.
Stat of the night? Oh golly.
I can go first.
Tell me yours. I have a few in mind, but I want to hear yours first. That's
so
why
Wizard.
Okay. I promise I'm prepared.
Yeah, it's okay. Wizards had 22 second chance points. The Cavs just kind of had an issue containing the Montrezl Harrell of it all a little bit weirdly. They had 12 offensive rebounds, against just 6 for the Cavs. Wizards out rebounded the Cavs by 9, and they turned it into a lot of second chance points, a lot of second chance opportunities. That's another thing that if the Cavs are going to play big, if they're going to play Wade and Mobley and Allen, and they're going to like lean into that and everything, like you kind of got to collect your rebounds. And even if a team spaces you out, if Mobley's guarding Kuzma and Harrell's a ball of energy and all that stuff, like you have to win. You have to control the glass if you're going to play big like that. And I think that this is the way that a learning experience where the Cavs can kind of look at this and say, okay, this team spaced us out a little bit, and we couldn't get rebounds, and that killed us. And that to me, that's like a major reason they lost. And you could just as a second, like the Wizards were 17-17 from the line. The Cavs missed 6 free throws. The Cavs make 3 of those free throws. Rubio in particular, it makes the one he missed, or Jared Allen was 1 of 4, which is well below what he should be. They win this game or get to go to overtime too. So just a little bit of it's kind of a double up there.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good stat pick, and it's really frustrating to think like the Cavs are kind of outworked. I mean, Montrezl Harrell played like a man possessed at times for the Wizards tonight.
He's been quite good for them.
Quite good. I think that's his ideal role as like a high energy microwave scoring big man off the bench for them. And I think he wasn't properly utilized at the Lakers. They kind of asked him to play more of like a la Dwight Howard role, or even what Marc Gasol was providing them, like more of a traditional big man instead of like, hey, we'll lean on you for your scoring punch, kind of like how he was at the Clippers under Doc Rivers. So like, I like seeing Trez. I think Montrezl Harrell was a fun player. I like seeing him kind of compete. I know Jeff Nomina wanted to give him a big fat contract, but I think him getting kind of bullied defensively when Jared Allen was doing some post moves on him is a clear indicator of not paying Trez. But my stat of the night pick is the Cavs missed 6 free throws that are 15 of 21 from the line. Washington was 17 of 17. That's the whole point of free throws. They're kind of called freebies for a reason. Like you said, Rubio missed a key one. Jetty missed one early in the game. Allen missed 3 of them. Mobley missed 1 of them. It's tough just going around like that. Just to think like the Cavs legitimately could have won this game if they just made their free throws. And it's just a fundamental thing. It's just a basic thing. It's a simple thing like that. And that's just kind of where I'm at.
Okay, so play of the night for you is what?
In the fourth quarter, Jared Allen had a block. I think it was like at 8:04 or so, and it led to probably one of the easiest buckets in Jetty Osman's NBA career. But like, it was an
I know exactly what you're talking. Where he didn't realize he made the shot.
Yeah, didn't realize he made the shot. Montrezl Harrell was going for a dunk. Jared was like a nasty block. It really got the crowd going. Mobley rebound. Jetty cut it ahead, and it was a Mobley assist. And Jetty didn't realize he made the basket. But like I said, one of the easier buckets Jetty Osman's ever made. He didn't realize he even made it. That's why I play the night pick. What's yours?
Mine is the Darius Garland floater, because this was the kind of shot
at the end of the third.
And end of this is the one later in the game. I think end of the third quarter. It's another one of these instances where we've seen him get a chance to create late in a quarter, seen him get a chance to kind of be the shot one-on-one creator that the team is kind of clearly lacking. I kind of just think like that is one of the kind of shot it needs. And I was listening to something recently talking about like young guards and floaters, and it's like a lot of them will take them like way too early, like close to the free throw line as they're kind of getting started. And I kind of looking back, kind of feel like that was the case with Garland. And this was like close. He waited like an extra step. He absorbed a little contact and he makes the floater. And it was like a basket that the Cavs kind of needed. And he just kind of had to make it happen. So I think for me, that's it. I think there's like Allen dunks. I think there's some Mobley stuff. I mean, every time Mobley hits a 3, it's just like kind of encouraging. And he looks again more comfortable with them. The Osman pick you made is, I think, perfect because it's just one of the more absurd. Like he just didn't realize he made the shot, and he just like looked confused as he didn't know it happened because like Beal smacked his bicep so hard. So a lot of good picks here. Again, this was a fun game. I feel bad for the folks. I feel bad for the folks that like turn into ESPN to watch like Cade and Jalen. This national TV pick.
I mean, why ESPN picked
Rockets, me too.
Pistons, but yeah, this was a fun game. This would have been a fun national TV game. I don't know what song David Griffin will play on the piano. Maybe when the league takes away some of these national TV games for the Pelicans because they realize they need to stop propping up that market. And I hope the Cavs get a couple of them because The more I watch this Cavs team, I think about, again, the Kyrie Irving Cavaliers, like that one year with Mike Brown where they were on national TV. And I was so excited because I was way more of a fan back then than I am now. But I was so excited to see the Cavs on national TV because it kind of just says, like, okay, they're a little relevant again. So I know people are talking about how like they have this underdog mentality. You could talk about the points betting spread and everything else, but
The barks, Darius explaining the barks in the clip they showed is like quite funny.
well, they're playing barking noises when
Oh my
in
God.
the arena at one point. So it's just where my dog's at. Jordan Bell just like looks on and like
Vindicated.
smiles. Like
NBA NBA champion Jordan Bell is vindicated for his what he brought to the
It's
Cleveland
like
Cavaliers.
Mufasa in the clouds. It's just Jordan Bell like just like forming in like the stratosphere above Rocket Romo Fiho and just smiling because they're carrying on his legacy because he signed with Cleveland for a hot second because there's a bunch of dogs here. And then JaVale McGee was a better pickup at the end. But yeah, no, this was a fun game. It's neat to see a lot of folks who have league pass, people who kind of covered basketball nationally, just like, oh, I'm going to check out the Cavs tonight. I'm like, it's just cool to see that. Like, people are checking them out to see how bad they are. They're talking about how fun they are. Like, a really fun play of the night was the Evan Mobley, Jared Allen pick and roll at the very start of the game for the start things for the Cavs. Like, that was neat. Like, the Cavs
Yeah,
could do more of that going forward. I
look, be
implore
weird.
them to do more of that going. Yeah, be
Be
weird. Have fun.
Yeah, be a weird
So.
team, Cleveland Cavaliers. After the break, we're going to talk about Isaac Okoro because he was back, he started, and there's a lot I think to digest with what we saw from him at Evan. You're going to tell everyone about our friends at McDonald's.
That is true. This episode of Locked On Cavs is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965. McDonald's has always been more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's a place where friends and family can come to reconnect. It's a place where classmates can meet for a study group knowing they'll have dependable Wi-Fi and endless supplies of French fries and McFlurries. Win or lose, it's a place where teammates, competitors, the home team, or the away team can come to recharge. It's the place you always look forward to stopping at on a long road trip to rest your legs and refuel. So, if you're hungry like I am right now, and I'm starving actually, but it's too late to me to eat, you should head to your local McDonald's and refuel and reconnect. Did somebody say a Locked On Cavs watch party? I'm loving it. Finnegan the cat's loving it. Chris Wolf Manning is loving it. And I bet you're loving it too.
That is my middle name. Don't wear it out with a U.
What's the last four of your social and your mother's maiden name? Just asking for a friend.
6969 and
Wow, what a childish answer.
You're right, it is. Anyway, we're back here. Isaac Okoro, Evan. He's back. Okay.
He
What's
is.
going on?
Just pet my cat.
You're a child.
The large king.
Your large
My
king,
child.
our thick king with two C's.
Yes. But yeah, Isaac Okoro is back and he was really freaking good. I mean, offensively, we're gonna use an old Locked On Cavs trope. If you're a first time listener / watcher, which we appreciate you making us your first listen / watch every day, but this was a game where Isaac Okoro could not be tangibly tracked if you just looked at like the box score. Like if you didn't tune into the game and you just look at the box score, you're like, oh, Isaac Okoro didn't do shit in 28 minutes. No, he put the clamps on Brad Beal at times, which is so impressive because Brad Beal is an all-star caliber shooting guard. He's arguably one of the best players at his position in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac Okoro is coming off a hamstring injury where he hasn't played 7-8 games. Like JB Bickerstaff said, like that's a hell of a welcome back, is to say like, hey, Isaac, I know you've been out for almost double-digit games, but we need you to come in, start for Colin Sexton, and also defend Brad Beal all in one night. Like, yeah, he played really well. I was impressed.
I thought his defensive performance was like everything you could have hoped for. At least on like that first watch, it's something I think I'm gonna have to go back and just kind of look through a little bit. He tracked everywhere. It was denying him off ball. It was crowding him on the catch. It was using his frame to be one of Beal's like biggest strength. I think is his upper. He's like a pretty strong driver. He's able to like he has good footwork. He has like really good skills. He's able to get off shots, but he's also like strong and physical. And Okoro handles that. And like the offensive stuff gets a little dicey. I mean, I think like his, like he had. I think there's like a couple good moments in that sense. Like I think the opening basket he had was good. I think there was a play later in the game where he caught the ball. He could have shot. He didn't force up a shot, but he made drove a little bit and then kicked it back out to Jetty, who then rotated to the other side for Darius for a three. Darius missed the three, but it was like Isaac kickstarted some good ball movement. He didn't force up a shot. But then, like, there's obviously still growth to come there. I mean, he was in the open court at one point, and just like ran into Bradley Beal in the fast break, like just completely just like was like tried to do like he has like a very heavy euro. I don't like it is so like his feet are kind of in like cement, sort of like he's just so bulky that like he's not like he doesn't have the most like fluid like movement when he's doing that stuff, and like that should have been 2 points, but he was an offensive foul on the cap. So there's like clearly still some stuff to do. And I think you could see early one of the things the Wizards did that I wonder how aggressively they would have done this with Sexton on the floor. And I can't say I've watched like every Wizards game this year, so maybe like there's stuff I've missed, but they were trapping when the Cavs basically only had one ball handler on the floor, so like Garland or Rubio Solo. They were pretty aggressive in trapping at the top, and they're like saying, "Okay, Darius, get the ball out of your hand, like get it to Isaac, get it to Jarrett, like let those guys have to make those decisions." And like that, like there has to be ways to beat that if you're the Cavs. If you're gonna have this for the next couple months, you have to kind of structure stuff around that. I think there's like change you can make in the starting lineup, and maybe that means going like more traditional if it's like Okoro and Jetty instead of like the three bigs thing. Maybe Markkanen, we've seen a little bit of flashes with him. Maybe that fit kind of works just because of the spacing he provides, and he's a little more comfortable with the ball in his hands, and like Dean Wade might be. But I think like this was kind of like he returned, and it was like defensively he's outrageous, and like he's the best wing defender in the Cavs, and like the fit with him and Garland from that standpoint is like kind of ideal. Even though it was like weird to see Garland have to defend like KCP, which is like kind of suboptimal because like Dinwiddie often was being guarded by Dean Wade, which was kind of like an interesting choice.
But Dinwiddie, again, people are going to think I'm still comparing him and Darius, but Dinwiddie's not a
you saw this and you're like, oh yes, it's the two Spider-Men.
No, I didn't. I thought about it for a brief second, but I'm like, you know what? I'm a bigger man. I'm gonna move forward on this. Unlike the rest of Cavs Twitter. But
this is why Twitter is a mistake.
It is. I don't have noties turned on, man. That's how I didn't get on Mac Perry's podcast for the longest time because he'd be like mentioning me saying like, "Hey man, you come on," but I didn't follow him, and I felt really bad because I was just like, because Justin's like, "Dude, follow him," and I'm like, "Okay," and I followed him back, and he's like, "Yo man, you want to come on my show?" And I'm like, I feel so bad because you've asked several times and I never saw it, but yeah, I don't see these noties, so I don't really care, but shouts to Heat Twitter too. Yeah, no, Isaac played really well tonight. I like you said, I think they had to tinker and stinker with this a little bit. I think you need to look at this team at full strength, full-ish strength, because if Colin's back and fully healthy, I think Colin Sexton's your starting two guard. Like, yeah, I can joke about him being a six man if Okoro plays well, and like in theory, the fit between Garland and Okoro makes really good sense. Not as good as Garland and DeJounte Murray, but that ship sailed for me, I think. But
I think we could be in a position where the next 8 weeks or so, if Colin's out that long, I think like if Okoro plays a certain way, I think you could have a conversation. Like I think it's going to be something where you're going to have enough data. Like you're just going to have enough data because like you can see defensively like how it makes sense. You just can.
Defensively, it makes sense, but offensively,
The,
the Wizards were
the,
packing the paint because Isaac was on
yeah.
the floor.
Oh yeah, he has to just like the shot stuff has to come, or else this is like a big problem. The Cavs roster is also just like screaming for like a wing who can like dribble a little bit and shoot. Like they're desperate for like a wing
Well, I mean,
playmaking
most
guy.
teams
Like
in the NBA want a
no, but
wing that can.
but even someone like a KCP who could like dribble a little bit would like be extremely helpful. You know what I mean? Like even like that level of like wing, like and Jetty kind of can be that, but like he's more of a gunner and he's a little more like
a mess
frantic
defensively.
Yeah, like if they had like a better defensive version of Jetty, like that kind of guy plus Isaac would be kind of an interesting wing rotation.
Yeah, no, Isaac was
Defensively,
fun.
yeah,
He's
defensively,
defensively,
yeah.
he chooses me a lot. I think, like you said,
The defense on Beal, I think we should just note like outrageous. Like again, we've kind of said it, but like that was the lowest. That was the lowest, fewest number of points Beal has scored in a game all year, and Isaac was like,
I mean, Brad
not
Beal's
fouling
averaging
him.
24, 5, and 5
Yeah,
before this
he
game.
clamped up Bradley Beal, and like it just speaks to like how tricky the offensive stuff is and how important it is in the league that it's just like not a no-brainer that he just plays like 35 minutes. You know what I mean? It's just like the offensive stuff is just such a tricky thing. But then it's like, does he do like I just like see him do 2 or 3 things a game where on offense where I'm just like, I think he can like figure this out. And then it just like I just also just want him to like hit like one catch and shoot 3. You know,
Yeah,
just like one.
I mean, I'm encouraged he's taking those 3-pointers. I'm not really going to be too concerned. I think you get 5 to 10 games back of a healthy Isaac, then you start to really take stock of his offensive production. But like, he missed nearly 10 games on a hamstring injury, which are notoriously tricky. And yes, his defensive instincts are just naturally there, but like offensively, he showed plenty of rust tonight too. And like, I don't know. The Cavs track hustle plays and quote unquote winning plays a lot in terms of their advanced analytics stuff. And I'm pretty sure Isaac caps out pretty high in terms of like defensive winning plays because he was really good. Like you said, like he put the clamps on Brad Beal, and when he wasn't on the floor, it was Lamar Stevens' turn. And it worked for the most part. Yes, Brad hurt the Cavs in other ways in terms of like playmaking and such, but they really negated a huge offensive threat. And it just turned out that 2 of the 3 former Lakers are what really hurt the Cavs the most.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is I think at the end of this game, if Okoro is on the floor instead of Stevens,
Oh yeah,
I think it's like fair to wonder
that was
if
a
that
missed
turns
call on
out.
JB's part.
Well, I just wonder if I guess we should. I mean, Zoom is malfunctioning. We're both on Zoom, but I wonder if it was just like that fall was like the fall that he had just like wasn't great, and they're just like, okay, we're just gonna like we're good
Yeah.
here. You know what I mean? Like first came back like in a long game, and I would respect that if that's the case. But it's just like there's been times where he's been clipped on screens and like doesn't navigate them, and that could have happened there. Like that's certainly like Lamar's not like a bad like kind of unaware defender, but it's like I'm just wondering if okay if goal and that just I think that's just how good I think he kind of already is on defense, even if the offense is just like obviously like a project. Evan, I'm going to put this out there now because I want to bully myself into doing it. And public pressure sometimes works. Even my therapist would approve of this. But should I write for fearthesword.com a good blog? What I just try to write a blog about what Isaac Okoro is on offense. Should I do that?
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
I'll edit it.
All right. You'll
Finnegan
edit
the
it.
cat implores it too as he makes biscuits on my chair and swats at my arm because homie is hungry.
So today we're recording this on November 10th. You're going to listen to this on November 11th. Let's just say I'm going to by November 18th, I'm going to have written this. You'll be able to read it, and then we'll talk about it on this podcast if that sounds good. We're going to do that. We have a public deadline, and Evan can. What bad movie do I have to see? If
you still have to go see Venom, so
I may be doing that tomorrow. So
that'll be fun.
Yeah, I can see how excited I am.
Yeah. Here, Finnegan, do you have any closing comments for Chris as we wrap up the show?
Oh wait, I didn't even. I actually forgot my bit. Evan, what happened to your Akron Zip, my boy?
You know, man, it's not about wins and losses; it's about wins and lessons for John Grossi.
The Ohio University.
What are you talking about? The basketball game or the football game? They
bro, the football.
They lost to Western Michigan.
Both of our alma mater football programs are in dire straits right now. The JCU magic of Tom Marth couldn't save you at Akron, so tough luck.
Are you guys gonna bring back your old decrepit coach like Kansas State did?
Oh no, it's Frank's retired forever, man. PJ Fleck. Which one of our schools is hiring PJ Fleck when he gets fired by Minnesota is the real answer here. We're gonna row that boat.
I PJ Fleck. You know what sucks the most, man? Terry Bowden's doing really well, and I hate Terry Bowden. It just really, really bothers me that he's probably the best coach in Akron football history in recent years.
Yeah. Look, I'm saying BVP. Jason Carter's back from Xavier. We got the highest recruit the school's had since DJ Cooper.
Excuse me, Xavier? It's Xavier.
I'm not a Jesuit. I don't know. It's in Kentucky. School. That's a school in Kentucky.
It's in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I said you heard me. It's Kentucky. Cincinnati is essentially Kentucky. It's like you can see Kentucky from across the board. Okay.
Yeah, Finnegan the cat. What do you have to say about that?
All right, we're leaving here. Everyone, we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to talk about Colin Sexton. We're going to preview Cavs Pistons, and we're going to preview Cavs Celtics because the Cavs have a 3-game homestand back-to-back Friday and into Saturday. against Friday against Detroit, Saturday against the Celtics, and then I believe Monday against the Celtics. This is a long stretch of home games. Only one in their next stretch of their next several is on the road. Good change of pace for them. No back-to-backs except for this weekend. Should be fun. We'll see how they handle Boston. We'll see how they handle Cade Cunningham in his first game against the Cavs in Cleveland. I'm sure the Mobley Cade stuff will be fun. Evan, any final thoughts for real here?
I'll be at the Charge game today when this episode posts on Veterans Day. They'll be playing the Windy City Bulls. Hopefully they get their first win of the season. If they do, maybe Chris will let me do a Locked On Now from the Wolstein Center about it.
It's not up to me. That's up to the higher ups.
We could just do it for ourselves.
We just do it on YouTube. That's true, because I do know how to do that now. Anyway,
subscribe
Chris
on
has
YouTube. The power. They don't know what they did. Subscribe on YouTube, folks. We're losing steam quick.
Anyway. Isaac Okoro's back, but the Cavs lost. They're 7-5 on the year. Still better than we thought. A lot more to talk about. It's going to be fun. Talk to you soon.